Major thing with that I hear
Also pay attention to Gavin Newsom's hands.
in the major thing with that I hear the most is the kids. You know, and I don't know if California's one. I know Washington's one where, you know, the state can come in and basically take your kid if you're against gender affirming care.
It is one, and he's gonna do it. He's gonna look into it, and he's doing the thing, and he's doing this thing, and he's doing this thing. It is one of the states. It's one of the first states that did it. But continue.
Is the kids. You know, and I don't know if California's one. I know Washington's one where, you know, the state can come in and basically take your kid if you're against gender affirming care.
Yeah, there's some nuanced language and around that. There's about 21 states, by the way, just on California's hardly, again, it's not the only, everyone back to California, but about 20 other states, 21 states that tend to operate in this space similarly with sort of variants along the same rules. And obviously California is one of them. But no, look, hey, I didn't even mean to cut you off except to say there's no doubt this issue, I thought it played a very significant and outsized role in the last election. I thought that ad, and by the way, I told Chris that and Susie when I was at the White House. Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, and Chris, who ran the campaign and a lot of the media, when I was over at the White House earlier this year. We had a conversation around the trans issue, which is fascinating.
What are you talking about?
That one was recorded. And then met with the president right after, who was in the middle of a press conference as we were talking on the topic, and began a 90-minute meeting I had with him in the Oval, talking about this very issue.
Okay.
Where he said what I just said about.
Are you going to answer the question?
Abortion. I was like, come on, man, it's not politics. There's human beings here, but I get it. I get the politics, but it's also about human beings.
Okay, man.
But that ad, that trans ad, you know, Kamala's for they, them, Trump's for you or something. That was powerful.
Wow.
And it was.
Are you going to answer the question?
Forced error of the Harris campaign not to push back on it. But they had they had a few moves to push back because it was what it was.
Okay.
That gender affirming care was afforded under a lawsuit when she was AG, and part of the settlement compelled that the state had to move forward to allow for it. And it was a circumstance with an undoc person that was incarcerated that got the gender affirming care. Everything about it just met a political moment.
Yeah.
And the fact that she defended it on a video only reinforced the vulnerability. And so they kept running the ad over and over and over again. It was incredibly impactful. And what
are you talking about?
Again, removing the humanity, right versus wrong, the morality on either side, politically, it is a major problem for the Democratic Party.
What about for you?
What about, are you going to answer the question? And then the people we're doing this stuff, we're looking into it, we're doing, the Democrats didn't handle that message. What do you think about gender affirming care?
Your values. I mean, is 8 years old too young?
Yeah, I mean, look, I now that I have a 9-year-old, just...
Oh, okay. So it takes having a child to finally realize that an 8-year-old is too young for gender affirming care?
Became 9. Come on, man. I get it. So those are legit. You know,
Don't you love... God, this is why I love politicians. When they're asked honest questions and they're like pressured to continue down the rabbit hole and they don't have an answer, and you can just feel his butthole clenching the entire time. He has no words. Because if he actually believed that gender affirming care should happen for an 8 or 9-year-old, he would just go out and say, yeah, I think gender affirming care should happen for 8 or 9-year-olds. I think they should be in charge of their own future. I think they have the capacity for the age of consent for these sort of things. But they don't actually believe this crap. So he's trying to balance both sides, and that's why he sounds absolutely
interesting. Just the issue of age. I haven't. As someone that's been so focused on equality, broadly, LGBT rights, particularly gay marriage. The trans issue for me is also novel. It's over the last few years I'm trying to understand as much as anyone else. Whole pronoun thing.
What is
trying to
this?
understand all of that?
Where we're trying to get it.
Well, that was like the hell.
It's
I mean,
like, what's
all that
happening?
stuff. I get it. All this stuff started to collapse on us. I joked with Charlie about Latinx.
Yeah.
I remember walking into my staff. I started using the word Latinx a few times.
And I was like, what is it?
And then my chief of staff, who happens to be Hispanic, goes, "Would you shut up?" I'm like, "What?"
What?
She goes, "Who uses that word?" I said, "I don't know." She said, my whole staff said, "Do not ever use that word again." I'm like, "What's going on?"
I'm just like, my white liberals are telling me I'm supposed to use these words, and I'm supposed to use these words. I don't know, are you just using these words?
Okay. And they literally stop. I'll never forget. I was like, "Whoa." We were on this sort of Zoom conversation, and literally my Hispanic chief of staff is like, "Shut up." And so I'm like, we were all kind of like, those meetings where my pronouns and everyone goes across.
People are doing pronouns.
All this was sort of, I think, post George Floyd, post COVID, we kind of came out. And there was obviously this rights movement post George Floyd, which you got to understand. On the basis of what occurred and all the social unrest. And there was a natural inclination then to try to course correct, but it was across the spectrum of issues, including increasingly on the issues of how we talk, communicate, how politically correct and sensitive people started becoming, use of language, pronouns, and then issues around the trans community.
We're doing trans issues.
And this notion of gender-affirming care for children.
We're doing
that's tough, man.
That's so tough,
and the science on that, I haven't dove that deep into it, but I read one report, and then there's one that's slightly contradictory, and then they said there's no contradictory. Here's what the UK just came out with. You're full of shit. It's absolutely scientifically sound that it's outrageous. And so it's intense.
It's intense, and I'm going to say a bunch of stuff that I'm not going to actually back up, and I'm just saying these things. I'm looking at trans, and trans are being trans people, and trans are like they're humans, they're not aliens, and I'm pretty sure like pronouns are hard to understand, and my people are looking into these sort of... Dude, this is such a winning issue for Republicans that every Republican should just push down more on this. And they'll be like, I want to talk about other things. There's other things affecting it. It's like, no. What's a woman? What's the age of consent a child should be able to do gender-affirming care? What's the age? Tell us the age right now. What's the number? It's like asking a Muslim, hey, what age can you marry a woman or a girl? Oh, no, it's like these people think things. These people want to do things. These people believe in things. These people... Wax on, wax off, dude. Those are the freaking craziest. I would have, look, see, this is the difference between me and Shawn Ryan. I would have stopped right there and be like, are you okay, dude? Is anything happening? I would say, is there anything happening in your body? I can feel the anxiety kind of bubbling up in the room. Are you feeling a little nervous? You feeling like you can't answer this question? Because I think I've asked you like 2 times and you're giving me these weird, I don't know where we're going. Can you just give me this answer? Why is this answer so hard for you to get? Maybe that's the question. Why do you feel like this answer is so hard for you to give? Just like an open-ended question like that. That was freaking wild.